Hello, Mountain View kids and families. This is Mrs. Martha coming to you with this week's Sunday school lesson. This lesson is for Sunday, November 22nd, 2020, and Thanksgiving is this week, so happy Thanksgiving. As always, remember you can email me at kids@mvucc.org if you have any questions, if you would like to get on my mailing list so that you get my weekly downloads, or for any other reason, prayer request, feel free to give me an email and I'll get right back to you. So our Bible verse that we are memorizing for November is, "The Lord bless you and keep you." And this is from Numbers chapter 6, verse 24. And this is a traditional Jewish blessing. And since we've been talking about Abraham's family and how Isaac blessed his son Jacob, this fits in with our story. As always, I'm using the Deep Blue Kids One Room Sunday School Curriculum by Abingdon Press, and that's where I get the material for my downloads and for my weekly lesson. So we've been talking in October and November about Abraham's family, and we know Abraham had a son named Isaac, and Isaac met a woman named Rebecca, and they got married. And Isaac prayed for her so that she would have children, and she got pregnant, and when she was pregnant there were twins in her womb and they were kind of fighting, and she prayed and God told her that she would have two nations coming out of her womb, and that is what happened. So she had two children. Esau over here is the eldest with the red hair, and Jacob. When they grew up, Esau became a hunter, and Jacob was a more quiet man who stayed around the house. And one day Esau came in. He was very hungry. Jacob was making some soup, and he was so hungry that he offered to sell his birthright to Jacob for the bowl of soup. And the birthright was the right to lead the family and to get a double portion of your father's holdings, and so that was kind of a big deal. So basically Esau sold his birthright for just a little bit of money, and that showed you that he just did not really value that very much. So as Isaac got older, he became blind, and Rebecca, of course, was older too. And so Isaac decided it was time to bless his oldest son Esau. But Rebecca overheard this, and so she told Jacob to get some animal skins and to dress up in those and to make his father's favorite dish. And so Jacob did that, wearing the animal skins on his arms and his neck so that he would look hairy like his brother and smell like him. And Isaac, because he was blind, thought that that was Esau, and so he gave Jacob his blessing. Well, that made Esau very angry. There he is, angry. And so Isaac had to leave, and that's where this week's story begins. So Isaac was told to leave. He decided to go to the land of Haran, which is where Abraham and his mother Rebecca were from their family. So he decided to go get a wife from the land of Haran, and that is where we are in our story. And I'm reading from Genesis chapter 28. Verses 10 through 22. I'm reading out of the International Children's Bible, which is a version that is a little easier for kids to understand. So Jacob left Beersheba, that's where his family was, and set out for Haran. He came to a place and spent the night there because the sun had set. He found a stone there and laid his head on it to go to sleep. Jacob dreamed that there was a ladder resting on the earth and reaching up into heaven. And he saw angels of God going up and coming down the ladder. And then Jacob saw the Lord standing above the ladder. The Lord said, "I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your grandfather, and I am the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are now sleeping. Your descendants will be as many as the dust of the earth. They will spread west and east, north and south. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. I am with you, and I will protect you everywhere you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." Then Jacob woke from his sleep. He said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, but I did not know it." Jacob was afraid. He said, "This place frightens me. It is surely the house of God and the gate of heaven." Jacob rose early in the morning. He took the stone he had slept on and set it up on its end. Then he poured olive oil on the top of it. At first the name of that city was Luz, but Jacob named it Bethel. And Bethel means house of God. Then Jacob made a promise. He said, "I want God to be with me and protect me on this journey. I want God to give me food to eat and clothes to wear. Then I will be able to return in peace to my father's house. If the Lord does these things, he will be my God. This stone which I have set up on its end will be the house of God, and I will give God 1/10 of all he gives me." So this is kind of a famous story called Jacob's Ladder. And they've made songs about this, even a song about the stairway to heaven. So this is a very famous story. And what it shows is that God showed that this was a way for Jacob to see into heaven. And God spoke to him directly and confirmed the agreement, the covenant that he had made with Isaac and with Abraham. And he gave to Jacob as well. And he said that all the families of the earth will be blessed through him. And of course, there he's ultimately talking about Jesus and how Jesus came from their family, and how many years after this, when Jesus died on the cross, he created a way for all of us to be able to go to heaven. So it was through Jacob and his family that God blessed us. Now, the interesting thing here is that Jacob really wasn't that great of a person. He cheated his brother, and tricked him out of not only his birthright, but also his blessing. And so basically he took everything that Esau should have had, and he took it for himself. But it's interesting that God chose to use Jacob anyway, in spite of him being a sinner. And actually, I find that kind of encouraging, because we're all sinners and we all do things we shouldn't do. And God chose to use somebody who had flaws and faults, just like us. If he had only worked through people that were perfect, which none of us are, but without any major faults, it might be hard to understand how God could work with us as well. So I kind of like that God chose people who had flaws, who were sins, who did bad things, and used them anyway. And I think that is really cool. So here's Jacob on his journey, and here he is sleeping with that rock under his head, which can't have been very comfortable, and the stairway he saw in heaven. And then here's a picture of an altar. Now this is a little fancier probably than his altar, because this looks like it took some stones that were probably cut, and Jacob just used a rock and set it on its end. But this is an altar that people use. This is before God created the tabernacle and the temple, and so people were able to build altars to God and worship there. God allowed that at that time. So Jacob set up this stone to honor God and the commitment he made. So he said, if God will do these things and protect me, then I will worship God, and I will give him 1/10, which is the tithe of all of his offerings. So Jacob promised to follow God at that time as well. So God was still working for Jacob, even though he had done some bad things, and he decided to work through him anyways. He promised to be with him and to bless him. So we have to remember, God is with us even when we make mistakes. We make mistakes every single day. God won't leave us. He still loves us. He still wants to bless us. He used Jacob to continue his plan of salvation through Jesus. So even this big plan of saving humanity, he worked it through just ordinary people. And I really like that, how God can bring blessing out of those of us that are ordinary. All right, and that's our story for this week. Now, this week in your downloads, you will get this, and this is just a placemat that you can color for Thanksgiving. And it says, "Give thanks to the Lord because he is good, because his faithful love lasts forever." And that is from Psalm 107, verse 1. And so you can just cut this out and you can color it. You can print as many as you want, and you can make placemats for your family for Thanksgiving if you would like. So it's a way that we can remember God. We do think of Thanksgiving as a time to get together with our family and have a nice meal, but ultimately it's a time give thanks. And I really like Thanksgiving because I like the fact that it's actually kind of just a simple holiday. We get together with people, we enjoy their company, our family and friends, and we thank God for everything that He's done for us. And in this year that has been very difficult, and some of you may not be able to celebrate with your family, we're only celebrating with the 4 people that live in my house this year, which is kind of sad. I wanted to share it with my sister and her family, but due to COVID, we made the choice not to do that. But there's still many, many things that we can be thankful for and bless God for. So we always have to remember that even in a difficult time, there's many things to be thankful for. So let's pray. Dear Jesus, we thank you for this time of Thanksgiving, all the things that we can thank you for, our family, our friends, our health, the way you still provide for us. This year has taught us to appreciate the simpler things, I think, just being with our family and friends. We maybe can't spend money on going out to meals and fancy vacations, but we can still appreciate the times that we share with those we love, and really that's what's most important. We thank you for your gift of your son, that you worked through simple people, normal people, just like Jacob, just like us, and we thank you for using your plan for us. I ask your blessings on everyone this week. In your name I pray, amen. All right, so thank you for watching my video, and again, you can email me at kids@mvucc.org to get on my mailing list. And always remember, you can like our Mountain View Kids Fontana YouTube channel, and you can share and subscribe to our videos as well. So have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.